Tensions boiling over in Shelby County Court today as prosecutors and defense attorneys clashed over exactly what killed inmate Gershun Freeman inside the Shelby County Jail. Medical experts are split on whether jailers suffocated him, while a head nurse on scene described a picture of total chaos. Jailers Stephen Jones and Courtney Parham face second-degree murder charges. Action News 5's Michaela Redmond in the courtroom all day. She is live outside 201 Poplar now. And Michaela, key witnesses took the stand today. What did they have to say?
Yeah, a room where it was a challenge to breathe, throwing up, and a desperate search for a pulse. That is what a nurse from the Shelby County Jail testified today about the chaotic scene unfolding in Gershun Freeman's final moments. The state called Shelby County Jail Nursing Director Michaela Armstrong, who testified that the air on the 5th floor was so thick from chemical spray that she and other staff were coughing, struggling to breathe, and vomiting. She also testified she couldn't keep her fingers on Freeman's neck long enough to check his pulse because of the conditions on the floor. Armstrong testified that she could not tell whether Freeman was conscious when she arrived, but based on the video played in court, he did not look like he was. Now, the defense called forensic pathologist Dr. William Oliver, who flatly rejected the state's claim that Gershun Freeman died of mechanical asphyxia from being pinned face down. Instead, Oliver testified that Freeman died of cardiogenic shock, essentially pump failure, caused by severe underlying heart disease and extreme adrenaline rush of the fight, psychosis, and heavy pepper spray.
Does mechanical asphyxia occur? Absolutely. But it's when people, the cases that I've seen are, farmers out in the field where the tractor falls over and they're caught underneath the tractor. Or, as Dr. Lee said, where someone's working under a car and the jack breaks and the car falls down. And while these correction officers are pretty beefy guys, they're not an F-150. I disagree with him
Dr. Oliver created a presentation for the jury explaining this reasoning. Part of that shared recent studies showing that people can be put in prone positions with weight on their backs and breathe just fine. Now, testimony is still underway inside of the courtroom. We'll bring you the latest information coming up at 6. Live inside of 201 Poplar, Michaela Redmond, Action News 5.